Well, look at this place. Ain't it snazzy? Dare I say, immaculate? I'm finding myself somewhat of a fan of this really niche subgenre of movies. I guess I would describe it as a hypothetical game show bottle story. It takes the concept of an actual game show like Big Brother or The Circle, where you thrust yourself into the whims of a sleazy producer and subjugate yourself for others' amusement, often being cut off from society and slowly descending into madness. Take my words with a grain of salt, I like these movies more conceptually than their execution. To me, these movies play the role of John Quinones and ask, what would you do? My first exposure to this was the movie Circle. Circle is both a pretty fun and kinda not great movie. I am impressed by Circle because anytime you're doing a bottle story, you expect it to have a limited cast size, but no, not this one. This one actually handles a pretty massive cast. I feel this movie gets a bad rep because people come in expecting a movie. I feel like some people come in expecting the layers of a scenario to be peeled back and explore the machinations of what's making them play the circle and go run around some, secret lab or alien spaceship and clearly define how and why things are happening. And that's just not really the point of these movies. Tend to be more about game theory. Not that one. It's best to go in expecting it to be more of a fun little trolley problem that you get to put yourself into. You're in a circle with 50 people, and every 5 minutes someone gets shot with a space laser. Oh boy. Break the rules, lose the game, or try to leave you will die. Like in Saw. So who would you leave to the end? Perhaps the pregnant lady? Or maybe the child? Or how about yourself? Circle is less than immaculate, as everyone is aggressively one note and kind of a stereotype. I understand that there's not a lot of time to develop all these characters, and it's more trying to achieve a sense of commentary on society as a whole, but it's an approach that leads to a quantity over quality. It ends up being a 5 out of 10. It's enjoyable enough to give it a go, but it's better if you're not expecting much or treating it as like a background podcast while you do other things. Then I stumbled upon The Immaculate Room, and it's not super great either. It functions as a similar hypothetical scenario in which two people have to stay in a complete white room for 50 days. No connection to the outside world or technology or nothing. If you both make it, you will get $5 million. And if only one of you lasts, you can still get $1 million. The movie stars Kate Bosworth, and let's just say you can't fool me. I am familiar with your game. A shame because she's actually not a bad actress by any means. Maybe her agent just hates her, or maybe she enjoys these, simple movies. I won't judge. This movie actually wastes a lot of talent, making the most of subtle character interactions and interpretational moments, with broad strokes being the most terribly predictable and boring choices. Let's face it, this movie, we invite you to jump the shark. We beg you. We beg, please bewilder me with something off-the-wall creative. Going into plot details now, so it's recommended going in blind. So go watch the movie or hear me talk about it. You've been warned. So while I've been calling this a game show, it's a little unclear as to what the motive of the operator is. They make it sound like a public figure, and he is referred to as a doctor. I don't remember the name, and because it's funnier, I'm going to be referring to the doctor as Mr. Beast! Mr. Beast is considered a public figure, as Mikey is dumbfounded that Kate has not heard of his biography titled Fame. A little on the nose. The title Doctor makes it seem more like it's a Stanford prison social experiment than a TV show like Big Brother, as the couple barely shows much mind to the audience one way or the other. Vagueness in this plot is not a bad thing, but in this case there's consequences that alter the perspective of the entire premise. I want to say more of an experiment because the characters show more suspicion to Mr. Beast and are skeptical of the time and day cycles, but the show uses the call from home, which is a very game show thing to do. Let's talk about that call from home segment, because it's a great scene. It's a nice little subversion of the trope. Usually on Survivor or shows like this, it's nice to see a relative call in and say, hey, I'm rooting for you. Not for Kate, though. Kate very much does not like it. As she goes hysterical. Turns out she was kind of caught off guard to have a call from her elderly, disheveled father. I guess the producers really fumbled and screwed up and didn't expect that to happen. This is an aspect of the plot that I wish was left somewhat ambiguous. Some things are better left unsaid. They're going to have a chat and immediately tell you that her dad is in a homeless shelter because he was always a good-for-nothing drunk. I'm sure you can speculate further towards the relationship, but as the film progresses, it seems more to assert Kate's greed and fear of poverty than any deeper layer on her character. The best elements of the film come from subtle character interactions with implications. Mikey uses his allowed treat, which is something he can buy for a couple $1,000s, for some form of entertainment. The first one is a green crayon, for example. Mikey uses it to scribble all over the walls, and he promises to draw Kate. This breaks into a passive-aggressive argument about Kate wanting a straight portrait, which, I mean, you have all the time in the world, so take your time, while Mikey insists he's gonna take some artistic liberties. It's a simple nugget of tension, but it does shape their relationship history and maybe shows a clash in their personalities that is yet to boil over. That's all the positives, apparently. Now to address the elephant in the room, are the fact that there's never an elephant in the room. Let's face it, these producers, not evil enough. And they show a severe lack in creativity. Oh, you'll never guess what they pull out of their bag of tricks.
Okay, open your eyes. Hey, it's a handgun!
I mean, I don't want to spell it out, but Anton would be so proud. Not going to lie, I was a little disappointed that this wasn't a blind date. The room is so nice and spacious. I mean, the cut literally trapped people in this cardboard box from SpongeBob for 12 hours. Honestly, that's arguably more terrifying to me. Now here's a treat that will spice it up. It's a naked lady! Wow, this definitely won't devolve into a jealous, mistrust, cheating storyline that ends up vague and just stirs up drama. But oh my god, they're so evil. Remember when Buddy bonks his head? Wouldn't someone have stepped in and intervened at that point? Like that one time the Japanese game show host dived headfirst into the equivalent of a TwitchCon ball pit, and everyone just spent the next few minutes rubbing his head in the mud. Honestly, when Japanese game shows can exist where they take Natsubi and can imprison him in a small apartment, live-streamed ass naked and forced to live solely on water and magazine raffle contest earnings for 355 days. Yeah, I don't think giving them ecstasy is the peak of dystopian nightmares. And in the end, I'm a little uncomfortable with the Mr. Beast game show kind of painted as a good thing. Spoilers to the end. Kate shoots a warning shot at Mikey to not exit the game, but eventually he ends up leaving anyway. Kate now has to last something like 3 days all alone, hopefully not succumbing to the yellow wallpaper. Flash out of the room months later, and Kate and Mikey meet up and seem to have moved on from their relationship and are doing better for themselves. Despite Kate being coy on whether she survived the challenge, the building she was at was the homeless shelter with her dad, which has miraculously received a generous donation from an anonymous donor. While Kate never vocalized her true intentions with the money, it seems like the ending is prompting some character growth that, if not for the Immaculate room reminding her of her father and causing a shit ton of introspection, this conclusion wouldn't have been her initial choice. So in broad strokes, trauma and confrontation eventually leads to growing more empathetic and compassionate. In this case, it feels really icky to even imply that the ends justify the means of the Immaculate room. I don't think that's it. I'm not going to waste your time for 50 days. It's a fine 5 out of 10. I wish for more films that are examining the Cut, Jubilee, Mr. Beast challenge videos and, you know, sort of the fine line between charity and exploitation. Please recommend me more trolley problem movies. I would love to mow through all of them. Interesting concept, but please someone actually go deeper than the surface level polish. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again at the movies. Damn, it feels good to say that again. It's been a minute.